The moment I watched our HOA president, Carol, illegally pry open my mailbox on a high-definition security camera, I knew her reign of terror was over. She thought she was digging up dirt on me, the one resident who dared to question her authority. What she didn't realize is that she had just hand-delivered video evidence of a federal felony to a man whose entire career is built on logic, data, and finding the single flaw that can bring down a corrupt system. My name is Mark, and as a software engineer, my world revolves around order, logic, and clearly defined rules. It's why I moved to the pristine, meticulously planned community of Maple Creek. On the surface, it was a paradise of perfect lawns and peaceful cul-de-sacs. But I soon learned that this paradise was governed by a petty dictator, our HOA president. Carol Miller. Carol was a woman who wielded her clipboard like a scepter. Her power wasn't derived from respect, but from a constant, low-grade campaign of psychological warfare. My first infraction notice arrived a week after I moved in. My grass was, according to her precise measurements, 0.25 inches above the community-mandated height. The next week, my trash cans were visible from the street for a full 65 minutes after the designated pickup time. Each email, dripping with passive-aggressive language, was a reminder that she was always watching. Unlike most residents, who sighed and paid the fines to avoid conflict, I responded, "I'm a problem solver by trade." I read the entire 200-page HOA covenant, and I would reply to her notices with calm, logical emails, citing the specific bylaw sections that proved she was either misinterpreting the rules or inventing them entirely. This didn't de-escalate the situation, it infuriated her. To a bully like Carol, being proven wrong with facts isn't a correction. It's a declaration of war. Her harassment became personal. She started taking photos of my house from the sidewalk, sending me courtesy warnings about the unapproved shade of beige. On my trim it was the original paint or the non-standard placement of my garden hose. It was a war of attrition, and she was determined to break me now. Let me ask you, what would you do if you caught your neighbor, especially someone in a position of authority like an HOA president, committing a serious crime against you? Confront them, or build a silent, airtight case? Let me know in the comments. The tipping point came when I was expecting a package containing sensitive financial documents for a mortgage refinance. The tracking number confirmed it had been delivered that morning, but my mailbox was empty. Frustrated, I decided to review the footage from the new 4K security camera I'd installed a month prior. A system I'd initially set up for peace of mind, but now seemed like a necessary defense. As I scanned through the day's recordings, I expected to see a mail-carrier mix-up. What I saw instead made my blood run cold. At 11:03 a.m., the footage showed Carol's golf cart pulling up to my curb. She dismounted, glanced nervously up and down the street, and then pulled a key from her pocket. It wasn't my key. It was a master key for the community mailboxes, something only she and the post office were supposed to have for emergencies. She unlocked my mailbox and pulled out the entire stack of my mail. Right there on the sidewalk, she began sorting through it, letter by letter. She held my bank statements up to the light. She examined a letter from my doctor. Then, she took the small package I was waiting for, tore it open, and quickly read the documents inside. After a few moments, she shoved most of the mail back in, crumpled my package, and tucked it into her tote bag before casually driving off. A wave of violation washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by a cold, calculating anger. This wasn't a petty rules dispute anymore. This was a federal crime. Tampering with, obstructing, or destroying U.S. mail is a felony, investigated not by the local police, but by the United States Postal Inspection Service, USPIS, the oldest, and one of the most tenacious law enforcement agencies in the country. My first instinct was to storm over to her house and confront her, but my logical side took over. It would just be my word against hers. She would deny everything, and the video would be dismissed as fake or edited. No. This couldn't be a shouting match. This had to be a methodical, undeniable, and public take. I downloaded the video file, encrypted it, and saved it to 3 separate secure servers. The game had changed. I spent the next 2 weeks in silent investigation mode. I used my software skills to set up a private, anonymous, online forum for Maple Creek residents. I posted a simple open-ended question. Have you had any unusual or costly interactions with the HOA board? The stories poured in. The Wilsons, an elderly couple in their 80s, had been intimidated into paying over $5,000 in fake fines for landscaping violations. until they were forced to take out a reverse mortgage. The Garcias, a young family, had a crucial job offer letter mysteriously lost in the mail after they had a dispute with Carol over their son's basketball hoop. She was a serial predator, using her access and authority to terrorize anyone she disliked. I contacted each family, explained what I was doing, and, with their permission, started collecting sworn statements and copies of their bogus fines. I was no longer just building a case for myself. I was building a case for our entire community. The stage for the final act was the annual HOA meeting, held in the community center. It was Carol's kingdom, her moment to shine. She stood at the front, smug and all-powerful, and began her presentation by singling me out. As many of you know, she began, her eyes locking with mine. We have had ongoing issues with one resident, Mr. Mark, who has shown a pattern of non-compliance and hostility toward our community standards. She spent 10 minutes detailing my infractions. When she finally finished, a satisfied smirk on her face, I raised my hand. "Carol," I said, my voice calm and steady as I walked to the front. "Before we move on, I have a short video presentation I'd like to share. It's about the importance of respecting federal law and the privacy of our neighbors." Before she could object, I connected my laptop to the large projector. The entire room watched in stunned silence as the 4K security footage filled the screen. There she was, Carol Miller, looking over her shoulder, opening my mailbox, rifling through my private letters, and stealing my package. The collective gasp from the crowd was sharp and immediate. Carol's face went from a smug red to a ghostly white. This is a fabrication. It's edited," she stammered, her voice cracking. "He's a tech wizard. He faked this to discredit me." But just as the words left her mouth, the heavy double doors at the back of the community center opened. Two stone-faced individuals in crisp, professional suits walked in, their expressions unreadable. They didn't look like residents. "Carol Miller," one of them said, his voice cutting through the silence with an authority that made the room go dead. "Quiet. We're federal agents with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. We have a warrant for your arrest. You need to come with us." Her reign of terror ended right there. Not with a neighborhood argument, not with a vote, but with the cold, quiet click of handcuffs. She was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, forced to pay restitution to the families she'd extorted, and was forever barred from serving on any board. Our neighborhood was finally free. She thought she was above the law, but she forgot that some laws are protected by people who don't play games.